touching on that electric cars piece, I mean, it's a journey that Toyota are just starting, of course, with the first fully electric SUV. How have you gone about adapting the staff mindset, the workforce to work purely with EV? Is that a big mindset change, or is it more of a training in sales and after sales concern?
Yeah, I think it's a big one. There's a lot of training going on and plan for the future as well, because it is a different mindset, but it's a different way of dealing with customers. You need to understand the whole the product in detail, and you can't deal with somebody coming in for an electric car the same way as you may have done for a conventional petrol car, because their needs may be different. What we're finding though a lot is people are coming into the showroom or contacting us saying they want an electric car, and actually then they realise they don't want an electric car just yet because the infrastructure is not there. They're worried about it going forward. So because of that, they might end up with a hybrid. But what we have got is we've got a car for everyone. We've still got a few conventionals available, petrols. We've got hybrid. We've got plug-in hybrid as well, and obviously now we've got full EV. So we're quite diverse in terms of being able to offer customers whatever they want.
Welcome to the latest episode of the AM News Show podcast. You're joining me here today with Steven Eagell, the Chief Executive of the fast-growing and multi-award winning Steven Eagell Group. Do take time to subscribe to the podcast channel on YouTube or your chosen podcast provider to ensure that you keep up with the updates and all the latest episodes. Be great to have you added into our audience. But now we'll get into the interview with Steven and catch up with exactly where you've been and what you've been achieving, most notably, Steven. I mean, we obviously awarded the group an award at the AM Awards 2022 back in May. Seems like a long time back now, but I'm aware that you've had huge success in recent months with Toyota's Brit Awards as well. I mean, it's been a bumper year for you. How does that impact the business? It must be a real motivator.
Yeah, no, it is. Well, first of all, good morning, Tom, and good to be here. Of course, it's a fantastic accolade for us to win. I think it's great for the whole team to get such amazing awards. So many of them across both Toyota and Lexus, and also through AM as well. But I think for us, the really important thing is to keep our feet on the ground. It's great to get the awards, but at the end of the day, we can't become complacent because we're starting again after that, and we just got to keep our feet on the ground, really. But as I say, it's really, really good for the guys in the business because they work so hard. We've got such a great team, and to get the payback is just fantastic. Is
that one of the main sort of motivators? I appreciate that with Toyota, you're probably, you're plucked out from scorecards. It's, you're entered into the awards because of how you've performed across the space of the year. But for AM, you enter, and I suppose the thinking with that is always to lift staff morale and get that recognition for them.
It is, yes, most definitely. Look, the Toyota and Lexus Awards are done on a balanced scorecard. We don't really set out from day one each year to win the award. We set out to do the best we can to provide the best experience for our customers, for our stakeholders, for our staff, for everybody. And that's just the end result. If we're ticking all the boxes, hitting all the KPIs, doing everything as we should be, then it's almost like the award comes as a result of the work we've done, rather than day one setting out to achieve that. Day one we set out to achieve our core objectives that we write as our business plan for the whole group.
You say that, but before we came in here, you set out a target for yourself. You're ambitious with AM Awards. You want a little bit more now. You've had a taste, don't you?
Well, I did give you a bit of a rib of the fact that you gave us a few awards, but you still haven't given us best group. You've given us runner-up for best group a number of times. So you never know. One day we might get it.
Great stuff. It's great to have regular entrants.
Oh, listen, we're competitive. We want to win everything, of course. I am, of course, yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, I think that competitive nature and particularly that drive has been apparent in the business for some time now. Mm-hmm. You were one of the first groups that I came and visited after I'd first joined AM. I came out to Milton Keynes and saw you, and that was 2017, I believe. But so much has changed in the group, and there's been recent additions as well. So, tell me about how that growth's come about. Has there always been a desire to achieve this scale?
There has, yeah. But what we've never done is set a target of a particular level we want to get to, because that can be dangerous. So, for example, if we were to sit down and say, okay, over the next 3 years, we want to have another 10 dealerships, an X amount of turnover, then all we're doing is pushing to achieve that objective rather than pushing to or looking for the opportunities that suit us best in terms of geography and strategically as well. So it can be a dangerous game doing sort of setting objectives. So we've been, we've always wanted to grow, but, as I said earlier, in a strategic way, but geographically. So, we have a contiguous territory. It wouldn't make sense for us to buy businesses, up in northern Scotland or down in the southwest. It just wouldn't fit because, our sort of USP really is the fact that we've always developed and organically grown our team from within the business. So every time we buy a business that fits onto us geographically and is contiguous to the existing territory, it's much, much easier to move people into that business and promote and develop them within their own vicinity rather than having to relocate them, because that can always be tricky. And you're in markets you don't know and don't understand.
So recent additions have come from the Vantage Group and also Oxford most recently.
Yes.
Yes. Where are we now in terms of the number of sites?
We've got 32 locations. We've got 23 Toyota and 9 Lexus. And as I said, it's a contiguous territory. I think it's about just over a 2-hour drive or 2.5-hour drive for the two furthest points. And the central hub, which is Milton Keynes, which is only really because that was our very first business, is kind of very, very well located. So we can get out and about to the locations fairly easily.
Okay, so in that time, I speak to a lot of chief executives, managing directors of smaller regional groups, and I guess there's always a bit of nerves attached to expanding your territory because you like to be hands-on. You're a manager. You like to be in control of what's happening. So in that period of growth, have you adapted the way the group is structured to ensure that you've got that management oversight?
Yeah, well, back in 2016, we bought a lot of businesses, 9 businesses in one go from Jardine, and it sort of significantly increased the size of the group. So we changed the structure there, whereby we now have divisional directors, a team of divisional directors, and then obviously the general manager reporting into them, and the divisional directors report into the executive main board, which isn't big. We have an MD, a group operations director, and an FD, and that's it really. And then 4 divisional directors, and that's the way we operate the group. So we try and not have too many head office type of staff, and we like to leave it to the locations and the management on site to run those businesses.
Yeah, and you actively travel around between sites. So what do you see as your role in the business now?
Well, to be honest with you, Tom, my role in the business has never really changed. My role is basically to recruit people that are better than me, and that's literally that. We need a good team of people around us. I can't run every business, nor can our operations directors, nor can our divisional directors. The guys on the ground, they're the ones that run the businesses, and we need to make sure we've got really, really good people that are not only good, knowledgeable at what they do, but also a part of the team, and that's really, really key to us. You look at our 4 divisional directors. I mean, they'll say it themselves. They're probably closer to each other than they are their partners outside of the business. So we do work very, very closely, and they've all been in the business for 15 years plus. The newbies are 15 years, some of them longer. As have our general managers and our senior guys. I think the average length of service for our whole management team, when you're talking about 120 managers across the group, average length of service is over 10 years. So I think that goes to show that we've always developed people and promoted them internally. And that's a great opportunity for everybody there. So really my job, as I say, is to make sure we've got the right people around us. And look, I love going around the businesses. I love visiting all the locations. It gets harder the bigger we get to get around them all. But I do enjoy going out and visiting the businesses and just talking to people.
Recruitment, retention is always a huge challenge in automotive retail, and it seems to be getting a little bit worse, if anything, a bit harder to recruit the right numbers of staff. I guess retention, mitigates that. But what are the key things that you would say keep people content and sort of help you retain staff within the group?
Yeah, we did a lot of work on this recently because our retention figures weren't where we wanted them to be. This is going back pre-COVID and after COVID. And we looked at it, and actually all the analysis we did, and I'm sure it's not exactly rocket science, everybody knows, it's not purely down to pay, it's not purely down to those sort of things, it's really down to work-life balance. And we took we made a big change in the business. We piloted some big changes in terms of people having more time off out the business, different rotas, different pay schemes, and it's working at the moment. Our retention figures are improving significantly. But I think the industry, getting people, attracting people into the industry has always been hard. It's getting harder because, it's such an amazing industry we're in. There's so many different opportunities. And I think people tend to see it as, you're either selling cars or you're repairing them. This is people, maybe school leavers, people looking to get into into their careers. We need to really get it out there that this is a great, business to be in. And we're doing some work on that. But after COVID, we realised we had a capacity issue. We needed more people. We knew that it was going to get busier. We knew we were going to have to deal with customers in a different way. So we have been recruiting ever since then. And it has been harder, but, we need to be careful that we don't just take people on for the sake of it to hit numbers. So we're taking our time, taking the right people on. And ideally people without experience that we can train what we believe is the right way.
Is diversity a part of your thinking? It seems to be high on everyone's list of priorities. Not just in the leadership level, I suppose. Those are the figures that often inspire the next generation, but it needs to start at the bottom as well. Is there a technique that you're able to employ to encourage more diversity in the workforce?
I think, Tom, you're absolutely right there. I mean, it's a big, big focus, for not just for us, for everybody, for all industries as well. But I think particularly this industry, we've joined the Automotive 30% Club. I think Julia Muir, who I'm sure you know, is doing a phenomenal job there. If anything, just creating awareness for the reasons I said earlier, that this is an industry for everybody. And I think if you look at it in hard facts, if it was a male-dominated industry, as we know, you advertise for sales executives, you used to get 95% of male applicants and very few women. So we're only really hitting half the opportunity. So therefore, by creating more awareness and really focusing on trying to change diversity and give an opportunity for everybody, we're then hitting 100% of the opportunity. So it makes sense. And we don't just, I know obviously, we want to have more senior, more diversity in our senior management, but that has to start because of the way we operate and because of the way we promote from within. That has to start at the bottom. So therefore, we're really pleased now. We've had a significant increase in our female sales execs across the group, or salespeople, and many other areas as well. So we're making good progress on that, but it's a massive focus for us at the moment. Yeah.
Do you think that translates into better customer service ultimately? People want to walk into a dealership and see a familiar face, as it. A woman might want to deal with a woman, or
absolutely, you have got that. But I think yes is the answer. But also, we need to be careful not to just be trying to hit a number. We need to be making sure we have the right people in the team, and not just saying, well, that's an objective. We want to have 30% female sales execs in 2 years' time. So just take on people to hit that number. We still got to make sure we recruit the best people. So I think it's stepping back further than that, and it's attracting the people to the industry. Because as I said earlier, if we've got more diversity in people applying for roles within the sector, then we've got more opportunity to recruit them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whoever they are, they're going to be joining a sector that is more fast-paced and more perhaps potentially unpredictable than it has been for years. We're in a moment of flux, it feels like, perhaps not just as an industry, but as a society. But ultimately, I'd like to understand a little bit about how you guys are working as a group. You're obviously, you are just Toyota and Lexus, so you're reliant on their product output. How has that panned out? We've seen the headlines of how Toyota have perhaps chipped away at their annual targets for vehicle manufacturers. So how much of a challenge has that been, meeting customer expectations?
Well, look, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It's meeting the customer expectations, which is a challenge. I think for us as a business and for the industry, the shortage in terms of new car and used car, to some extent at the moment, supply, has been good in terms of margins, in terms of profitability. So we've had to really look at the way we do things and change it, because the most important thing for us is the customer's journey. So whereas previously you place an order, they might have had their car within a few months or a few weeks, now we've got to manage that process and ensure that we manage the customer's expectations expectations right the way through from order until they collect their new car, which can be a year plus in some cases. So is it frustrating? It can get a bit frustrating from some of our people. But do you know what? Overall, the way we look at things, we tend to, within the business, we tend to say that if we can't influence something, there's no point spending wasting energy on it. We need to focus on things we can influence. So we can influence the customer journey, the customer experience, we can influence our margins and the way we operate as a business. That's what we tend to focus on. So at the moment, it's worked really, really well for us. As we know, the industry's in terms of profitability-wise, had a very, very good time over the last few years. Are there rocky times ahead? Well, of course, there's some headwinds ahead. We know about the, it's all been, you've only got to turn them, look at the media, turn the TV on, the radio, and we all know about energy costs and interest rates going up and inflation and all the bad news out there. But as I said earlier, we can't really influence any of that as a business. So what we tend to do is try and look at the things we can do, and let's try and be as positive as we can without burying our heads in the sand.
Is there an anxiety at this stage with all those negative headlines and the squeeze on people's household finances that people might roll back on those orders that are placed with 12 months lead times? Will people be perhaps coming out of the cars more generally, but also pulling out of a new car purchase?
There's a danger of that happening, which is why I've said, that's our job really, to make sure that we're in constant contact with the customers and giving the best experience for them and looking after them all the way along the line. Will customers, if the headlines continue as they are and the media continues reporting what's actually happening, will it get harder? Yes, but then at the end of the day, it's never been easy. I've never known a period in the 38 years or so that I've been in the industry when it's been easy. We've always had challenges. We've had so many of them over the years, but we are, I think, an extremely resilient industry, and whatever's thrown at us, we seem to get through it. And I just think a lot of it really is having the right mindset, and it's the way you approach it and the way you deal with things.
So as a business, we were talking about this before we came in the studio this morning. We're hearing a lot about the energy price caps, which obviously have a huge influence on household disposable income, but also there is no price cap for businesses, is there? Lots of businesses feeling the strain and really suffering the consequences of rising energy prices, rising fuel prices in our industry. How have you managed to mitigate against that? And how much of a concern is that going into the winter when the showroom lights will be on for many hours a day, I guess?
Yeah, listen, it is a concern. But as I said, there's nothing we can do about it. We have previously done some deals in terms of utility costs, and they've been set, but they're just about all fixed, shall I say? They're just about to run out, so we're going to be hitting the new cost base. But we've got to just deal with it. There's nothing I can do to change my energy price costs apart from trade in the dark, which simply isn't going to happen. So we need to carry on. So what we need to do is look at other areas that we can bring revenue in to compensate for those rising costs. And I think also what we shouldn't be doing, I think often, not just in our industry, but in industry generally, I think we need to also distinguish the difference between cost and investment. I think so often I see businesses, or we buy new businesses, whatever, and there's a real focus on cost, which there should be. Of course there should be, but to the detriment of investment. And there's certain times you actually have to spend more money to get your return back on it. So I think it's separating or differentiating between cost and investment, and knowing where you've got to stick your money into and where you should be pulling back on.
Is there has there been a move towards any renewable energy solutions or anything like that at dealerships to try and bring that energy cost down, or will there be?
Well, there will be, yeah. Obviously, any new developments, any rebuilds, whatever, any new sites going up, of course there'll be renewable energy taken into account when you build them. And we're always looking at ways of fixing costs going forward in terms of energy bills. But, there is focus on it, and who knows what's going to happen? We don't know. All we do know is they are rising, and we've got to deal with it. Absolutely.
So I guess, we've recently featured in AM about potential areas of diversity, new income streams as things get a little bit tighter and increasingly EV changes the way that people are doing business. So you mentioned other income streams. What potential areas of focus might you be able to pursue?
Well, there's a couple of things really. We're really focusing on VLV, vehicle lifetime value, and customer lifetime value. That is key to it. In terms of we need to be managing every single process of that car from when it's first sold to when it's goes down to it's written off, goes to the breaker's yard when it's finished. It's no good us just supplying a new car and then not seeing it again. We need to have lifetime value for that vehicle. And you look at, for instance, Toyota's relaxed warranty, whereby we've got up to 10 years now warranty available. If you have your car serviced, that's a fantastic retention tool for us, and it really has started to pay dividends for us significantly, and we're really optimistic about that going forward.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great initiative. And I've spoken to manufacturers recently who are looking to perhaps emulate that as well. You can see it spreading like wildfire, can't you?
No, absolutely, yeah. And as I say, it's key. But also, customer lifetime value, we need to look after those customers. We need to keep them for life. And the customer experience, and now's never been more important to it's always been important, but now's never been more important to focus on that, continue focusing on it, because particularly with disruptors in the industry, our unique opportunity is that we have customers opportunity face to face. So we need to make sure the experience for them at every single touch point is fantastic. And we'll never get to the goal on that. We're always chasing it forever. You're never going to get to where you need to be, but it's just a constant focus.
What do you see as the future sort of dynamic between retailer and manufacturer? I mean, you're very focused on the Toyota Lexus relationship. Mm-hmm. Will that evolve in a way that that the manufacturer, as we've seen with some other brands, takes a little bit more of that customer journey, customer relationship piece away from the dealer, or will it always be the place that you're interacting face to face and nurturing that environment?
Yeah, it's a difficult one to answer in terms of for other manufacturers because we're so close and so aligned with one brand, with Toyota and Lexus. So I can't really comment for others because I don't have too much exposure with them. But all I can say with us and with Toyota is it is one Toyota. There's an amazing partnership there with not just ourselves and the manufacturer, but also all of the other dealers in the network. And the way they see it is, the customer, from a customer's perspective, there should be one dealing. So, it's not a case of, I'm buying a new car, I've got to deal with you, and I need to go and get it serviced, I've got to deal with another person, I've got a finance issue, I get put onto the finance company. As far as the customers are concerned, they just want one point of contact, one dealing with one person. And I think, from Toyota and Lexus's point of view, they'll always need distributors, they'll always need the retailers to distribute the cars for them. They do a great job at manufacturing, but they always recognise the fact that they need the dealer network there to supply the vehicles and give the experience to the customers. Yeah, so from that point of view, I think that will always be the case. And I think it's just an evolving partnership. But it is transforming. There's a big transformation going on for us in our business at the moment in terms of the way we operate, and we are piloting lots of different things going forward because we'd be a bit naive to think everything's just going to stay the same as it is. Yeah,
we saw recently that Toyota invested in a Motability business. Is that subscription and leasing piece something that's going to become a larger element of your business?
Well, there will be. I mean, there are going to be lots of things that are piloting at the moment because, we're trying different things the whole time. But there will be certain subscription models coming because, as I said before, there's got to be extra revenue streams coming from somewhere because, the cost of electric cars going forward has to be absorbed somewhere. And, if some of it's absorbed in our margin, we need to find other areas to bring the revenue in to subsidise that.
I mean, touching on that electric cars piece, I mean, it's a journey that Toyota are just starting, of course, with the first fully electric SUV. How have you gone about adapting the staff mindset, the workforce to work purely with EV? Is that a big mindset change, or is it more of a training in sales and after sales concern?
Yeah, I think it's a big one. There's a lot of training going on and plan for the future as well because it is a different mindset, but it's a different way of dealing with customers. You need to understand the whole the product in detail, and you can't deal with somebody coming in for an electric car the same way as you may have done for a conventional petrol car because their needs may be different. What we're finding though a lot is people are coming into the showroom or contacting us saying they want an electric car, and actually then they realise they don't want an electric car just yet because the infrastructure is not there. They're worried about it going forward. So because of that, they might end up with a hybrid. But what we have got is we've got a car for everyone. We've still got a few conventionals available, petrols. We've got hybrid. We've got plug-in hybrid as well, and obviously now we've got full EV. So we're quite diverse in terms of being able to offer customers whatever they want when they walk into the showroom or contact us.
Those compact crossovers and SUVs that have just been introduced must be doing great business for you, aren't they?
Amazing. I mean, they're cracking looking car, fantastic looking cars, selling really well. The only frustration is we can't get enough of them. But you know what? Nice problem to have. I'd rather it that way than the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So going forward, I guess the guidance is that supply will recover a little bit as the year goes on, will it?
Yeah, we've got plans for significant growth over the next 4 to 5 years. And, we're hoping that supply is going to get better and we're going to get it through. We're fairly confident it's going to happen. That's what we've been told. We haven't been let down yet, so we don't anticipate any issues. Well, obviously there'll be some challenges, but we anticipate them coming through with it and getting the volume that we need longer term.
So, as a group, as you've got that long term strategy. As a group, do you anticipate further expansion?
We always want to expand. We don't want to stay still. But as I mentioned earlier, we will only really grow if it fits us both strategically and geographically. It's got to be right for the business. We don't want to grow just for the sake of it. But it's of course we want to grow. We don't want to stand still. We've got some great people around us, and we've always promoted and developed, as I said, internally. And we want to continue doing that. So it makes sense for us to continue to grow as and when the right opportunity arises.
I know you started out your position as a head of a business under with support from the OEM. Does that continue today? And is there any scope that Steven Eagell will at some point branch out and adopt other brands?
Yeah, in terms of your first point, in terms of obviously we did start as a sponsored operator just over 20 years ago. We've just had our 20th anniversary. Can't believe it's gone that quick. But there's no difference now. I mean the sponsored operator program completed 15 years ago. So we're just the same as any other group out there. Absolutely, yeah. And going forward, would we expand with other brands? We get asked this question a lot. We never say no to anything. But if we ever did expand, first of all, it would be with the blessing for Toyota and Lexus, because obviously got a great partnership with them. And secondly, it would have to be a meaningful relationship. We're not really interested in one of this and two of that and three of that, because all you end up doing is maybe doing half a job 2 or 3 times. So, at the moment, we have no plans, but we'd never rule out anything because, we'd be crazy to do that.
You're fortunate that the manufacturer that you partnered with all those years ago proves to be, one of the biggest in the world and still, very profitable. So I guess
it is, successful. Yeah. And, when you look at the time you spend in terms of the relationship, not just myself and my senior team, but the managers as well, in terms of the relationship with the manufacturer, in terms of understanding campaigns, in terms of understanding all the detail that goes behind every single opportunity that's given to us by the brand, it's a lot simpler to do it with one relationship than having 5 or 6 or 10 relationships. So hats off to people that do it well. But we've tended to just focus on what we do best and what we know. But as I said, you never know what's going to happen in the future.
Is there a particular product or initiative at this stage that you're looking forward to seeing implemented or arriving in the business over the next 12, 18 months?
More stock.
That's got to be the key thing.
Just more stock, really.
Yeah.
Listen, at the end of the day, as I said earlier, we have adapted our commission programs and the way we remunerate our team as well now because of the supply situation. But at the end of the day, as I said, it's a nice problem to have, the fact that we haven't got enough stock around us. It's firmed up residual values. We will have a used car supply shortage coming, as we know, because there's been a shortage of new cars. The new car registrations have been down over the last 3 or 4 years, so there'll be a shortage coming for that. But we'll deal with it like we always do. Yeah. Focus on the older cars. That's what we're looking to do now. Focus on slightly older cars now as well.
And I guess that will, that that older car stock still benefits from that new warranty scheme as well. So you're going to keep that retention.
Absolutely. We are, one of the things we are focusing on now is looking, we shouldn't be leaking cars out of the business. Whereas you may have looked at a 4, 5, 6-year-old car before and thought it was borderline, provided it goes through all the necessary checks and it's right to retail. We need to be retailing it. We need to be, as I said before, a vehicle lifetime value. That vehicle needs to stay with us and have as many visits to us as possible. In fact, all the visits over its period of life.
I guess I know you've put an awful lot of work into managing your forecourt space and allowing customers space on site. I think it was mentioned in the AM Awards, actually, that the management of sites. I guess that shortage of cars has freed up space to be more hospitable to customers, hasn't it?
Well, we try we try to be more hospitable to customers by recruiting more valet parkers, drivers and people parking cars for them. So we do somehow try and fill the forecourts because we're quite lucky. We've got 50,000 live PCP cases across the group. So provided we manage those customers well and we give them a great service, then we like to think our retention team and our guys in the business do a great job at bringing those customers back and supplying them with new cars and obviously getting the used car to retail as well.
And the Brit Awards and the AM Awards will follow on as a result, I'm sure.
Absolutely, yeah, that will happen, I'm sure, yeah. But listen, at the end of the day, we enjoy what we do, we love what we do, and also, most importantly, the whole team do. We enjoy coming to work, and I think that's important. We've all walked into retail environments when you don't feel welcome. You can see the people don't want to be there, and that's what we work on. Making it a great, fun place to work and enjoy.
Great stuff. So, lovely note to end on.
Yes, isn't it?
So long may it continue. Retention and awards. That's
Thank you, Tom.
And hopefully some more cars at some point.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks ever so much for joining me, Stephen. Great interview.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.